One thing I notice a lot of my male clients really struggle with is that they don't bring up sexuality into their conversation. When this happens, it looks a little bit like this. And I want you to think about if you've experienced this before. You're on a date, you're at a bar in a conversation with a cute girl, and things are going pretty well. You're talking, she's not trying to get away. She seems to be laughing at your jokes. She seems to be interested in you. But when it comes time to take a next step, that might be get a phone number or make out with her or ask her back to your house or do something sexual in nature, all of a sudden it feels weird, it feels forced, it feels uncalibrated, and you can't seem to find a way to take that step without it feeling out of place. And the reason you feel like that is because it is out of place. And it's out of place because you just weren't being sexual in the conversation. You were being a nice, sweet, funny, charming guy, but you weren't being a sexual guy. So from her experience and from your experience, it's feeling like this weird chop across, going from totally platonic conversation to something a little bit more naughty. And you absolutely must bring some sexuality early into your interactions to establish that's the kind of relationship this is going to be. It's going to be one where I'm going to treat you well, but I'm also going to be a little bit sexual. But a lot of guys struggle to do that without making things feel weird. Now, obviously, I've got a long list of ways that I coach my clients to be more sexual in their interactions. But today, I want to share with you 2 very simple strategies that are amazingly effective and that you can actually take quite far. And by quite far, I mean turn it from an interaction that feels very platonic to an interaction that feels a little bit naughty in a very good way. Now, before I share these with you, I want to let you in on a little secret. In September, I'm going to be in Las Vegas running a series of boot camps. Now, I'm going to get just a few spots left. Now, if you want to grab one of those spots and you're living in the United States, go ahead and check the link down below, put it in the comments to find out more about those upcoming boot camps. All right, so the first strategy is to give a compliment. No, don't skip this section. Every old guy can give a compliment. This is a very specific kind of compliment. It's a sexual compliment. So here's the lowdown on compliments. First of all, don't be showering any girl with compliments when you first meet her. Just don't. It's supplicating and it's no good. Don't be agreeing with everything she says just because she's cute and you don't want to disagree. Instead, you should be giving her a little bit of crap, teasing her, giving her a little bit of push for the push-pull. Because when you've done that and you haven't given her lots of compliments, what you want to do is jump in with a really well-timed sexual compliment. So you're in a conversation with her, and at some point you'll just say, "Hey, can I just stop you for a second? I just got to say that dress is stunning. That is sexy. That is wow. Like when I came over to talk to you, that's the thing I noticed first. Like you got it going on right now." That kind of compliment. You're not trying to be sleazy. You're not trying to go, "Wow, your boobs are, oh my God, I just..."
What you do with them? Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you.
No, because that would be crossing the line between being sexual but not sleazy and being way too graphic with the compliments that you give. Now, obviously, I know guys have gotten away with compliments like that before. I have as well. But in general, let's not make that the advice we give. You want to give a compliment that's like that, or you can say to her, "Hey, I've just noticed when you smile, it looks really naughty. It's like there's something like naughty going with your smile. That's very, very sexy when you smile. I love it." Okay, so again, notice I'm using the word sexy somewhere in there when I'm giving that compliment. And it's not sleazy, it's not over the top. When you do that, you're letting her know, I see you as a man, I see you sexually. But you're doing it in a way that is more or less a general acceptable compliment that barely any women are going to be offended by. But you're setting the stage, and this is something that's critical that every guy should be doing. And if you're not giving any sexual compliments, you need to add this to every single interaction you have with women you're flirting with from now on. The second strategy allows you to take things a step further again. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell a funny story, but not just any funny story. You're going to tell a funny sexual story. Now, you're going to do this for a couple of reasons. One, to tell a sexual story out of the blue. In other words, you're just having a general chat about what she does for work or what you do for work, and you just tell her a sexual story out of the blue. That's going to feel weird. Like, why did he change the topic to this? Why did he do that? But when it's a funny story, a funny anecdote that's sexual in nature, a story that happened to someone else, not you, that's really important. Never tell a story about you having sex with someone else. Big no-no. But when it's a story that's funny and sexual, the fact that it's funny is the reason to tell it. We've all been in conversations and you're like, oh, do you remember that time when I was over there and this happened? It can be non sequitur. I can totally not be in vibe with what you were just talking about, but because it was funny, you can introduce it and it doesn't seem weird. And it's the same thing here with these stories. So let me give you an example of a couple of stories that I've used. I'm not asking you to copy them. Try to think of your own life or the lives of your friends, but you can copy them if you don't have anything else. Two examples that I frequently use with my clients is, so I don't know if you guys have come here a lot, but I've been coming here. I come here way more often than I'd even like to admit to. I like the place. I like the music. I like the drinks. I like the people. What can I say? But anyway, I was here 2 weeks ago and, all of a sudden I was just chatting with some friends and all of a sudden the security goes running across the bar to the far end, and I'm a bit of a sticky beak and I'm a guy, so I like to see a fight. I'm sure there's a huge fight going on. So I look over there and I'm like, oh, what's happening? And I kind of start walking behind the security to see what's happening, why they're running to that corner. And in fact, what they're doing is they're running to the bathrooms. And out of the bathrooms, they bring this guy and this girl out, like dragging them out of the bar together. Clearly, they're in there doing something naughty. But what is so funny is the guy's like walking through the bar like, yeah, that was me. That was me doing that. And the girl next to her is like, oh my God, don't look at me. It's like when, I don't know, someone's been accused of child molestation on the TV and they're walking with a jacket over their head, so they can't be she's doing that, But it's so funny because it's so radical, the different ways that men and women view what's okay sexually, I think it's crazy that a woman can't just be proud of, hey, I'm just having fun sexually. It's wild that only guys are allowed to enjoy that. And I think we should change that, but it was quite funny to see. Okay. That's story number one. Okay, here's another story. Maybe we're talking about traveling. And I'll say, yeah, I haven't been to Malaysia now that you mention it, but I had a friend who went there about 5 years ago. And he was over there and he was texting me, oh man, you've got to come check out this place. This is absolutely amazing. You're going to love it. The women here are amazing. And then the following Friday, he's like, dude, I just picked up the hottest chick. She's just at the bar. She's even buying me a drink. And then later on, he's like, whoa, man, you got to see her boobs. They're epic. And then he sneaks in a shot of her boobs that he took with her phone. He's like, oh my God, dude, check them out. Anyways, texting me all night long. And I'm like, oh, you bastard, having all this fun without me. And then suddenly, bam, no more text messages come through. And I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? What's happening? Talk to me, bro. Doesn't talk to me that night anymore. Doesn't talk to me the next day. Doesn't talk to me for the whole next week until he comes back to Australia. And then I messaged him like, man, you left me in the dark. Like, what happened? And he's like, man, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, what? What happened, man? Things are going so well. I don't want to talk about it, man. Stop asking. Anyway, I can pester and do it a lot, but I do it like secrets. I want to know. So anyway, finally I get it out of him. And apparently what happened is he was making out with her in this corner of this bar, getting all hot and heavy, like kissing her neck. She's biting his neck, licking his ear. Her hands are all over him. And he like slides his hand up her skirt to start, touching her. And there's a big hard cock waiting for him. And he was not pleased. He wasn't happy at all. All right, now, obviously the second story might be considered a little inappropriate now. Times are changing with what we tell. But these are my two defaults that I always used to use. And they're great because they're sexual in nature. They change the topic to the topic of sex, and they do so in a way that makes it feel valid because it's funny, and that's why we tell the story. But you can actually take these stories and take them to, well, let's call it a bonus point 3, right? A bonus strategy number 3. Because what you want to do, once you've breached these topics, here's what you want to do. You need to watch how she's responding. If I tell my story about the guy and the girl walking out of the bar, and she responds like, oh, yeah, haha, those poor people, ha, ha, ha. And she doesn't really engage with it, leave it alone. Don't do anything more because you've made things a little bit sexual and she hasn't run with it. If you tell the story, it's like, oh my God, that girl, I would have been so proud. Or, she's like joking along, playing along with it, getting into that story. If she's getting into the my friend in Malaysia story and, oh my God, your poor friend, that's so embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. She's laughing and enjoying it. Good. That's a great situation. Because when she plays along with it, what you can then do is you want to stay on topic. And what I try to do is I try to make it about her and me. That's the next step. So what do I mean? So maybe we're talking about my friend with the transgender woman in Malaysia, and I say to her, oh, I feel so bad for him, but all right, tell me, what would you do, right? We're talking here in the bar, we're having a great chat, things start to get more and more sexual between us, there's a palpable tension, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you, go, and then I say, let's go back to my place. We go back to my place, things are getting hot and heavy in bed, and then, just as you think you're about to get some, you reach down there and there's a big wet pussy waiting for you. What would you do? And be honest, don't lie to me because I'll know if you're lying. So notice what's happening here. It's still a funny, silly situation, but what I'm doing is I'm drawing her into it, making it about her and me. I'm painting a picture. I'm future projecting something sexual happening between us and seeing how she responds. Because again, if she plays along with it and laughs and giggles, what you're going to notice is a very drastic change in the energy of that interaction. Because she's all of a sudden going to enjoy the vibe and she's going to get into that kind of naughty sexual vibe. It won't mean that she'll just throw herself at you. I just mean when as sexual people, when things become sexual, the topic becomes a little bit naughty, we change in vibe, our energy level changes, we get a little bit more giggly, a little bit more excited. And this is fantastic. And it doesn't matter if you're just talking to the one girl or 2 or 3 girls when you're telling this, they'll all get into that state. And all of a sudden now you've got a sexual interaction. So that's really the bonus third one, is make it like stay on topic, create an absurd situation based on the funny story you told involving you and her. Now, this last one really is a bit more of an advanced technique, but it's fire. It's absolute fire because when you do it, it changes everything. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is a topic I talk to all my clients about. I've done this without notes, without much preparation, because I wanted to do a different style of video from time to time. If you've loved it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. But also, don't forget to check out that Vegas Bootcamp, guys. I got just a couple of spots left, and I'd love to see some more of you guys out there while I'm in the country. As always, take care, and I'll see you in my future videos.